After mother's death, father took grandma home. Grandma loved using the hairy loofah, 10-year-old frozen meat in the freezer for cooking. To survive, I threw away all the vegetables. Grandma and her husband diligently shared health knowledge. My father and brother said I was unfilial. Later, my grandma wanted me to be obedient. They deliberately switched my medicine with sugar pills. After I die, the father told the police that his grandmother didn't do it on purpose. What bad intentions could an old man like him have? Try again. I learned to be filial to my grandmother. Loofah soup is delicious. Of course. We should do as grandma says. Left for the rest of the family. Later, grandma bought dad a suit for 50 yuans. This forced the father to wear open crotch pants while giving a report. Father was furious. I said, then how come grandma is just frugal? Grandma took the younger brother's photo to the tutoring center. I'm setting up blind dates for my younger brother everywhere. I explained that this was my grandmother's thoughtful gesture. My younger brother is ungrateful. Later, they broke down and wanted to send their grandmother back. Grandma found out. A woman was found on the roadside. He poured a bucket of acacia powder down his father's and younger brother's throats. Before he had to ensure the Lin family bloodline continued. Looking at the familiar scene before me, I took out my phone, feeling a little lost. Date on mobile phone. To my surprise, I was reborn. Before I could even react, Grandma's shouts came from the kitchen. You good for nothing. All you do is waste things. Is this melon still edible? Listening to Grandma's voice, I couldn't help but look towards the kitchen. Grandma was fiddling with something in the kitchen. The hairy loofah he picked up downstairs. Next to it was what he brought from his hometown. Stale meat that had been in the refrigerator for a full 10 years. An unpleasant odor permeated the room. My father and brother glanced at me. It's like waiting for me to stop. Grandma. I didn't move even after being seeing that Grandma was really about to put the loofah and tofu into the pot. The father, currently serving in the military, aren't you a medical student? Can I eat that hairy loofah? You should know, right? Grandma is old. She doesn't understand. But don't you? Hearing this, my heart tightened. In his previous life, his father died after using the excuse that Grandma is pitiful living alone. Bring Grandma back to Jiaogong. But he forgot. There was a reason why my mother didn't want my grandmother to come. Grandma was not only superstitious, still stubbornly holding grudges. He felt that I, as the older brother, you should give in to your younger brother. They also said I should take the initiative. Giving me food is a blessing. Seeing that I ignored him, he deliberately caused trouble at the place where I worked part-time. It caused me to be fired. I confronted him. My father, on the contrary, advised me to be understanding of my grandmother. He's my elder, after all. I listened to my father and endured it. Treat him like family. Result, he actually wanted me to take out a loan to pay for my brother's dowry. I broke down and my grandmother rebelled. My younger brother and father, however, advised me to be understanding. Can't move. Let me bear with it. Anyway, we're all family. Why bother distinguishing them this so clearly? Time it was also because I kindly reminded moldy him food should not be eaten. But he said, I've already cut away the moldy and rotten parts. Why can't I eat it? You just don't make money. Do you know how hard it is to make money? This is called saving. This is a virtue passed down from the older generation. Helplessly, in order to survive. I had no choice but to throw away the food my grandma seriously had made. Explain health knowledge to him. As a result, my younger brother and father and he even said I was unfilial. Grandma made it with great effort. If you don't want to eat it, how can you pour it out? My brother is really unfilial. If my grandma made it, I'd eat it even if it killed me. I can't. He had no choice but to collect the moldy fruits he had picked up by himself. Rotten vegetable leaves. Discard all meat that has been frozen for an unknown period of time. Then switch to hearty and healthy food. He held a grudge because of this. I think I deliberately went to make trouble for him. My mom and I both dislike him. They deliberately replaced my medicine with sugar pills. It caused me to die outside. As a result, after my death, the father sought out his uncle to defend his grandmother. Grandma didn't do it on purpose. What bad intentions could an old man like him have? They also said that grandma's memory is just bad because would he really harm his own grandson? Later, Grandma was released without my younger brother even came all the way to my place to say I deserved it. Who told me to bully Grandma? Not filial at all. Thinking of this, I looked up at my brothers and father's expectant faces. My parents and Grandma have lived so long. He definitely knows more than I do. He said he can eat if he can. You wait. I'm going to help Grandma cook now. Arriving in the kitchen, Grandma looked at me warily. I'm afraid I'll throw away his precious old meat. I smiled at him. Grandma said sincerely, I think you're absolutely right. I will definitely learn from you in the future. You say east. I won't Grandma go west. Looked at me with a shy expression. But look at my sincere expression. His smug smile was more like it. You always had to listen to your mother. I'm your grandma. Would I ever harm you? I nodded. Grandma started adding ingredients to the soup. Add a little dried scallion leaves. Add a little bit of rotten old salted fish. Add a little bit of juicy winter melon. Add a little soy sauce. That's older than me. After a flurry of activity by me and my grandma, I stewed 3 dishes and a soup served to my younger brother and father. Then I gave each of them a bowl of soup. The father and younger brother looked at the green soup. He looked troubled. They looked at me, hoping I'd say something to stop Grandma. After all, he didn't want to eat this. I don't want to rebel against my grandmother, so they want me to take the lead. I had been trying to reason with my grandma for a while, but right now I'm just standing to the side without moving, looking at the 2 men's father and younger brother strangely. Why aren't you eating? This is a token of Grandma's love. How can you not eat? Grandma heard the noise and looked at the 2 of them with affection, saying they were all right. There's still some in the pot. Eat as much as you want. I brought all the delicious food from home with me this time. Grandma glanced at me as she spoke. It was all Xiaoyu's fault for being so immature. I make one. He throws away one. It's rare that he changed his mind today, knowing to be filial to me. My younger brother, who was helping me out, looked at my grandmother. I handed the bowl to my brother. You eat first? I quickly waved my hand. How can that be? As the elder brother, you need to learn to give in to your younger brother. Not to mention that dad is the pillar of the family. Hope for the future. Grandma's darling. As I spoke, I picked up a piece of food with my chopsticks and brought it to my father's lips. Furrowed. Our family doesn't have that many rules. Otherwise, before my father could finish speaking, I interrupted him directly, saying it was okay, Dad. Even if everyone is treated equally, the elders should eat first. This was made by Grandma with great effort. You're not the most filial son or daughter. Father gritted his teeth. I closed my eyes and swallowed the food. Is that enough? Seeing this, he immediately picked up another piece of meat and put it in his father's bowl. Dad came to eat meat. Father had no choice, trembling. He picked up the meat and ate it. Looking at his trembling body, I found it somewhat amusing. It seems the meat doesn't taste right. The younger brother tried his best to make himself less noticeable. And how could I possibly let him go? He pushed a pile of things in front of his younger brother. Come on, little brother. Grandma said you've been staying up late reading a lot lately. You need to replenish more. The younger brother's hands were trembling as he held the chopsticks. I ate too much this morning. I'm not hungry now. Don't you understand what I'm saying? Grandma spoke first, saying she had to eat even if she wasn't hungry. You are at a stage of rapid growth. Eat more to develop well. I nodded in agreement. Little brother, look how good Grandma is to you. You wouldn't even give me this much face, or is it dislike? Grandma's cooking isn't good, after I told her. Grandma's face darkened. Xiaoyu, Grandma spoiled you for nothing. He won't even eat this little bit. And I continued to fan the flames of my dad. Why aren't you eating anymore? You won't all dislike Grandma. Father heard this. He quickly shook his head. He was most afraid of being called unfilial. Finally, after Grandma's tearful pleas, Father looked at the dishes on the table. He managed to squeeze out a sentence. Who said I disliked it? Xiaoyu, you eat too. The younger brother was about to speak. What's wrong with the dish when my father interrupts me? It's not bad. As he spoke, he picked up a piece of sticky winter melon, stuffing it into his mouth with his eyes closed. Perhaps the winter melon had been sitting for too long. The gushing of syrup began immediately. I handed him a glass of water for everything. Grandma slowly eats advertisement. The younger brother saw his father eat. Helplessly, he took a spoonful of soup and drank it. To his surprise, he felt an intense craving as soon as he drank it. I want to vomit the soup. I quickly grabbed his chin. Swallow it. It's such a waste that my brother threw Grandma up. Spent half a day squatting in the market to get this. I just found it. Your brother's eyes are red, and you say it so nicely. Go ahead and eat it if you dare. I shook my head. How could I possibly be worthy? This was made especially for you by Grandma. My younger brother glared at me, perhaps afraid that Grandma would really get angry. I forced myself to take another big gulp. Grandma watched her younger brother and father eat. The younger brother nodded in satisfaction. That's more like it. We never had these conditions before. You have to eat meat during the Chinese New Year. I feel sorry for you. I specially brought all the meat that your second uncle gave me. The father and younger brother, who both spoke in classical Chinese, exchanged a glance. After all, my second uncle has been dead for 10 years. The father couldn't take it anymore. When Grandma wasn't looking, grabbed the plate on the table. It was all dumped into the kitchen waste bin. After the younger brother realized what was happening, Grandma's shocked gaze, put the 2 remaining dishes on the table. It was also poured into the trash can. Of course, they didn't spare what was in the pot either. Grandma was stunned for 2 seconds. She rushed over and looked at the trash can. The vegetables I finally managed to collect. You just poured so much of it into my bowl like that? I can eat for at least 3 days. Although the father explained to the grandmother, those dishes will cause problems if eaten. Grandma remained unmoved. sitting on the ground, slapping her thigh. When I was hungry back then. They even eat tree bark. You guys are really having a tough time right now. I went to the side and helped my grandmother, father, and younger brother. How could you do this? My father was about to force me to shut up. I walked to the trash can, pointing to the dishes inside. He said, "Last time I threw away half of Grandma's moldy cucumber. You say I'm unfilial." Hurt the old man's feelings. My younger brother also scolded me for being wasteful. How come it's become inedible in your eyes? The father and younger brother's faces instantly turned red. He wanted to refute me, but I shut him down so he couldn't say a word. These words, all of these were things he said to me last time. Grandma's crying sounds more like mom pointing at father and yelling at him. Listen to this. Even your son is more sensible than you. The father was rendered speechless. He had no choice but to be like me in my previous life. I started seriously explaining science to my grandma. Grandma shook her head, indicating that he was too old to understand. Point, my father could only look at me. You tell Grandma. I shook my head. I don't understand, but I know it is long and orderly. Dad, Grandma, whatever you say goes. The father was so angry he was about to speak. I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my stomach. I struggled to get to the toilet, but they discovered that his younger brother was already inside. Come out quickly. I can't hold on any longer. The younger brother's weak voice came from the bathroom. I can't get up either. The following sounds came in waves, like flowing water. The father, clutching his stomach, rushed to the next door. Is the toilet at home not an option? The father struggled to walk out. As soon as I got to the door, yellowish liquid. It stayed down along his father's pants. I passed by the living room, watching his father transform into a jetpack warrior next to the toilet. He slowly took out his phone to take a picture. Grandma then poked her head out, frowning and pouting. What's the big deal? They scream like pigs being slaughtered. I survived 3 days of diarrhea by eating wild vegetables back then. She's just spoiled. Father heard this. Anger suddenly surged up, but the pain was so intense that I didn't only gasp for breath and stare at the old lady. So don't even mention it. Didn't you see we all pooped? Grandma's choking voice means your stomachs aren't functioning well. What makes you think it's my fault for being bad at the game? The younger brother, leaning against the doorframe, swayed as he walked out. The father immediately squeezed him. Then the sound of flushing began, mixed with several bodies that could not be suppressed in pain. The younger brother looked at the house by the door. I was just about to lean back on the sofa and rest for a while. Dad broke out in a cold sweat again. Are you all right? I can't take it anymore. Half an hour later, my younger brother begged me, trembling, to call for help. I watched the two people clutching their stomachs in pain, feigning an innocent expression. I need to ask Grandma first. I do whatever Grandma tells me to do. The younger brother couldn't believe it. Seeing my father's trembling hands as I supported him, I ignored him. Turning around, I called my grandmother. Grandma looked at the two of them. He immediately indicated which hospital to go to. He has a way to treat this minor illness. After saying that, he took a bottle of medicine saying that hospitals are all scams. I don't know how much it will cost to go. To cure illnesses, we still need to look to what our ancestors left behind. The younger brother struggled to back away. I laughed and pulled the two of them onto the sofa. Grandma, I believe your brother and father are truly filial. I'm definitely more willing to support you than I am. Grandma was very happy when I praised her. He showed the two the medicine in his hand. This medicinal wine is a really good thing. Normally, I wouldn't be willing to part with it. Would I possibly harm you? The younger brother and father were helpless. I can only remain skeptical. I agreed to Grandma's suggestion. Grandma nodded. Directly pour the yellow liquid from the bottle. It was poured into the mouths of his younger brother and father. As a result, the younger brother and father drank Grandma's medicinal wine. I also started vomiting. Because Grandma loves my little brother the most. He gave his father a sip. The rest was poured into the younger brother's mouth. A short while later, the younger brother's limbs twitched and the father was terrified when he saw this. She scrambled over and hugged her younger brother. Xiaoyu, call an ambulance immediately. Grandma panicked too. He said, feeling wrong. That's my impossible. Medicinal wine is made with human flesh, soaked for over 40 years. How could anything be wrong? But look at my younger brother, who's foaming at the mouth. I couldn't say anything more. He quickly instructed me to make a phone call. I took out my phone and dialed 120. Soon, the doctor then took the father and younger brother to the emergency room. Fortunately, both of them were rescued. However, due to the severe disruption, the two of them have been on 4 drips for the past few days, lying in the hospital bed. When the doctor comes to make rounds, looking at the medical record, acute gastroenteritis with food poisoning, strict dietary restrictions are necessary. They can only eat light, liquid food. You absolutely must not touch greasy, leftover food. Grandma was eating nearby, muttering something like, what a load of bull. Man is made of iron. Where do you get the strength if you don't eat meat? I didn't respond, seeing that he was preparing to go home to make pig's trotter soup for his father. I immediately took out 200 yuans from my bag and gave it to my grandmother. I support you. My grandmother was like this in my previous life. I told them I'm allergic to peaches. He insisted that I was faking it. Even if I have an allergic reaction, he still insisted on his own opinion. Sure enough, the next 3 days, Grandma insisted on going against the doctor. The doctor told me not to eat greasy food. He made meat soup. He even specially chose pork belly to make braised pork for his younger brother. While the nurse was away, be careful not to put it in your younger brother's mouth. Father was so frightened his face turned pale. The doctor said I can't eat it. Grandma stared. He forced a piece of fatty meat into his younger brother's mouth. What do you know? These are all good things. My younger brother only felt nauseous. My stomach started to ache again just as I was about to make some money. He clutched his stomach and pleaded with his grandmother. Please, Grandma. You really can't eat it. Unexpectedly, Grandma changed her tone to that of a child who had recovered from COVID-19. Xiaoyu is the best boy. Take another bite. This is something I made especially for you. I sat in the corner of the hospital room peeling an apple. He didn't stop his grandmother's behavior. After all, I need to be filial until to my younger brother was admitted to the emergency room again. Grandma finally calmed down a bit. I was very reluctant to replace the chicken soup with millet porridge. The day of discharge, both the father and the younger brother have lost a lot of weight. The first thing the two did after they got back, it means throwing away all the things that Grandma had hoarded. Grandma was so anxious she was jumping up and down. Him. The father and younger brother covered their faces, unable to retaliate. He could only let his grandmother at the request of his father and brother. Grandmother. I finally gave up on the idea of picking up things to cook. Days passed by. Father is getting a promotion. The office director privately revealed the oral medication. As long as this live speech goes smoothly, my position as deputy department manager is now secure. After the father rummaged through the house, decided to buy a new suit. Grandma overheard it. He immediately patted his chest and said, the father wanted to refuse. But Grandma questioned her. Don't you trust me? Didn't I buy all your clothes when you were little? In the end, the father couldn't outlive the grandmother. The next day, I saw Grandma go to the stall at the vegetable market. I successfully negotiated a price of 50 for a set. The father frowned and asked the grandmother where she bought it. Grandma insisted that there was nothing wrong with what she bought. After mentioning that her father only wanted to wear clothes bought by her mother, he was rendered speechless. I had no choice but to hang the suit in the closet for now. The report stated that on the same day, she secretly switched to the one she had bought before. But the father saw an empty wardrobe. Where are my clothes? I'll try coming out of the bathroom. He walked up to the two of them with his father's clothes in his hand. I've washed all of my grandma's and dad's clothes. Guarantee that not one item is missing. The father removed his makeup while it was still dripping wet. His face turned pale. Xiaoyu, how could you wash all of these? I pretended to be clever. Grandma gave it to me. Grandma also told me to help with chores around the house more often. To share some of dad's burden. Grandma nodded in approval. Xiaoyu, haven't I done a good job educating you? Looking at her father's ugly face, Grandma patted father on the back, saying, don't worry, I know. The ones I bought for you haven't been washed yet. I'm also going to see your speech today. You must wear the clothes I bought you. The father wanted to refuse, but looking at Grandma's face, in the end, I resigned myself to my fate and wore the clothes that showed my filial piety. Of course, I have to go with Grandma to see father's speech. The father took a deep breath. Walk onto the stage with the cigarette distributing script. It couldn't compare to the other people's fancy suits at all. Even more terrifying. When the father went on stage to give his speech, he had already bent over. The sound of ripped trousers echoed in the quiet hall. Complete. All eyes were on the father's trousers. There was a deathly silence in the audience. Then a thunderous roar of laughter erupted. Undoubtedly, the speech was a disaster that day. The deputy manager position was given to someone else. The father's attire also negatively impacted the company's image. I got a good scolding from my boss. After returning home, the father then threw the tattered suit violently to the ground. Mom, take a look. This is the good suit you bought. It's all your fault. My chance to grow a branch has fallen through. Grandma knew that too, but he just wouldn't apologize. I was very careful when I was choosing. It must be because you're too fat that your pants ripped. The father was so angry that he trembled all over. I want to say a few words in my defense, but Grandma based on, wasn't I trying to save you money? They gambled it back. As a filial person, of course I'll help Grandma, Dad. Don't be angry. Grandma is good to you too. You should be more understanding of him. My part-time job went wrong before. Didn't you also tell me to be magnanimous? Grandma asked me to help with the gun. Stand up straighter. You hear me? Xiaoyu is the most sensible. It's your own bad luck that you can't get promoted. Now it's time for the weirdo to come. My father turned and glared at me, but I don't know how to refute me. He could only clench his fists and say to his grandmother, "Mom, stop being so frugal. Our family doesn't lack this money. What's the point of trying to save money? Do you know how much it cost to be hospitalized last time? How much of a raise will I get if I get promoted?" Grandma pursed her lips. "I understand." Without responding, "I won't do it again." The father sighed. Looking at me and my grandma, he kicked the chair in anger. He rushed into the bedroom. Father just didn't know that besides being stubborn, Grandma, they're also incredibly vengeful. Sure enough, it didn't
Grandma
take more
started
than a few
causing
days.
trouble again that evening.
He came in carrying a large plastic bag. The father sat on the sofa and casually asked, "Mom, what did you buy?" Grandma put the bag on the coffee table, slowly unpacked the food. Father leaned over to look. I couldn't help but frown, wondering if we could finish eating so much. Grandma smiled. He pulled a small receipt out of his pocket. "Look at the mess in front of your father. Things are expensive now. This little thing cost me over 10,000. Wenyun's father had just picked up the glass of water and spilled half of it. Strawberries cost 200 yuans per pound. They're robbing people. They say it's from overseas. Organic fruits shipped by air. It's normal for it to be a bit more expensive." Self-righteous, a hint of smugness in his eyes. "Didn't you say our family doesn't lack this money? What's wrong with giving my grandson some good food?" Father's. Her face flushed instantly, but it wouldn't cost more than 10,000. What else did you buy? Grandma glanced at him, slowly from another bag. He took out a bottle of soy sauce. "And this one costs 10,000 yuan a bottle. I heard it can prevent cancer." Father picked up the soy sauce bottle. "My hands are trembling, Mom. You're crazy." Grandma shrugs, with an innocent look. "Didn't you tell me not to be frugal? I listened to you. Buy expensive. Buy good. Why are you angry?" I watched my grandma's smug expression from the side. I know he was deliberately punishing the couple.